Welcome to another Ideas Edition podcast. And in this episode, ladies and gentlemen, I have an amazing player. This is actually a very big power player in the insurance business. We're strictly going to be talking about how to build a very nice income with life insurance. And I have Chris Tinsman with over 20 years of experience here. Chris, you are amazing. Thank you so much for being here with us today. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you, George, for having me.
My pleasure. So I want to get started right away. But first, I want people to know where you come from. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in the insurance business.
Well, I used to work in the environmental consulting industry, engineering. I was doing a lot of project management, so I worked with people.
Wow. Okay.
It's like skills.
That's good.
People skills, right?
That's good.
And then, I was a semi-professional soccer player, so I already had motivation. And I was trying to eliminate credit card debt, and I was tired of living paycheck to paycheck. And that's how I really got into the industry. Somebody said, "Hey, I think you'd be great at sales. Why don't you try this?"
Really? Just like that?
Mm-hmm. So I went out and I got my license, and I started working part-time. It was about, I was working Friday nights and then all day Saturday and half a day Sunday. And I was living in South Carolina at that point. And the interesting thing is that after about 6 or 7 months, I was making more part-time in 2.5 days than I was full-time.
Wow. So you still had your job. When
I kept
you
my
got
job.
licensed, you kept your job.
Mm-hmm.
And you started doing this 3 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
So, or 2 days and a half.
Right.
And then you started making more money part-time on this than your full-time job. That
Yep.
is interesting. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And my husband and I were able to eliminate about $70,000 in credit card debt the first year.
That first year?
First year.
Wow. So tell me a little bit about that. Walk me through it, because that's not normal.
No.
You know?
No.
It's usually hard to eliminate $70,000 worth of credit card debt
Yep.
in 1 year.
Yep.
Unless you have a very strong game plan. So what motivated you to do whatever you had to do to accomplish that year?
Well, what had happened is we had a real estate investment, and it was a really bad timing. Timing
Mm-hmm.
was everything. So in order to get rid of the real estate property, we had to bring money to the table. So that's what kind of put us back. It's not that we managed poorly, but I mean, bad things happen. It is what it is. And we were just in a bad spot, and you get tired. You go to work and you go to work and you go to work, and you come home and you come home and you pay your bill and you pay your bill and you pay your bill, and you never see the bill go down.
Isn't that crazy?
Yep. And then you think, you wake up one day and you say, something has to change.
Wow.
So that's when I told my husband, I was like, we have got to do something. I don't want to live like this, because I never had debt before. And then I just got really motivated my goal is to eliminate the debt. So it wasn't to make more money. It wasn't to do this full time. That's not why I did this business. I did it because I was trying to eliminate debt, and we were able to do it. And I said about a year. I think it was like 13 or 14 months. Exactly.
Still amazing. Still amazing. So you got licensed, right? How long did it take? Was that easy for you, or?
No, it's difficult when you have a 40 to 60 hour a week job, and then you have to come home and study, and you're tired and you really don't want to. But what I did was I actually took a week. I studied every single night, and then I took a Monday off from my job, and I studied Saturday, Sunday, and took the test on Monday and passed.
That's so smart. I would have done the same thing probably. I'm just going to take these 3 days, cram and everything, and just pass the test.
Correct.
All right. And then you got started afterwards. You got a license. You got started. Okay.
I did.
Walk me through that process, those first appointments. Were they challenging? Did you...
Well, I'm an old dog. So the good news is that we had paper applications.
Awesome.
And we had one company. And that was it. And it's so crazy because I laugh about this all the time. I sold my first deal. And I didn't even know what I was doing. Like, I literally just wrote them an application, got them approved, which is very difficult because the underwriting's so different. But I had an underwriting guideline, like pamphlet, and I had to calculate on my calculator what the premium was going to be.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But see, you did it.
Right.
Right. And that's what's important. You actually took the steps, quoted the client, and signed here, got the application filled out, right?
Correct.
That is funny. That is funny. And you have to be creative sometimes, because right now the problems we get is like, okay, I don't know how to process the application or the next step or where to go.
Yeah.
We get that a lot now, but if you're creative about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is awesome. So how many that first year, just to have a time frame, how many apps do you think you did or you submitted? Like, how many apps were you doing a week?
I wrote my first year in the business, my first full 12 months. Now I was kind of dipping my toe in the water kind of the first month just to see if I could actually do it and fit it into my schedule. And then I got really serious about it, probably month 2. That's why I said it took us about 13 months, because the first 2 months you're just kind of feeling your way through the business. And then my first year in, I wrote 100, I believe it was 139 applications.
Wow. And that was part-time.
Friday night, all day Saturday, half a day Sunday.
Wow, that is amazing. And let's do a little bit fast forwarding now. So because constantly you wrote all of these apps and you've been a constant high producing agent for such a long time. You changed your life. Like, you have an amazing lifestyle.
Yeah. My life is very different now.
And back then, I guess it was more final expense and mortgage protection. What type of products you were writing at that point?
Yeah, I started in mortgage protection, and then the industry changed a little bit, and then the housing market, the interest rates went up, and then of course the mortgage protection leads kind of dried up a little bit, and then we moved into the final expense, or if you want to call it end life burial policies. Yes. So it was a little different than it is now.
Yes, and then you focus most of the year selling those two products, but then you got introduced to something called advanced markets, right?
Correct.
Okay, so walk me through that, because that's a different type of sale. With mortgage protection, you're protecting the home. Final expense, you're protecting their end of life or the burial cost. There's usually a need for those things. Advanced markets, you're talking to a more educated client and you're trying to find that need of, hey, how can this product fit this client's needs, right? So walk me through that change in your throughout your career.
Sure. It's a mindset too. Once you get into the industry, you start to feel very comfortable with the products, because every company has 2 or 3 products that you're going to be able to use. It doesn't matter what company it is. They either have a permanent product, a temporary product, or a final expense product. So I always say there's only 2 types of products. There's temporary products and there's permanent products. That is. You just have to find the need of the client. But I think as time goes on, I was always thinking, I'm going to go in, I'm going to take care of the need first, whether it be mortgage protection or final expense, but then how can I keep the client for life? And then I started thinking about, okay, what can I actually do? First of all, I've already earned their trust, so I already had the respect. There was no, I didn't have to persuade them that I was going to be a good agent for them, but how can I help them as time goes on with their children and their kids and potentially their retirements? How can I help them get out of debt and use the same products? So my mindset was, let me do some investigating with my client, or a needs analysis sheet that could potentially open up maybe some things that they're exposed about, some things that they don't know about, some things that they need to be educated about. And if I just go in with the mindset of educating my client on the products available, they already trust me. I don't have to sell anything. I'm an educator.
Awesome, awesome. And how did that process look like when you started educating the client instead of maybe selling the product? So you still got a lead, but it was a different approach now.
Correct. What I'm finding is that the more that you educate somebody, the more that they trust you, number one, but not only are they going to trust you, but now they're going to start referring you to their family and friends. And that referral process, it just opens up a totally different type of clientele, because most people that you would sell a product to, they hang out with the same type of people. So you're not beating bushes to try to find people to make sales. Now it's like they're seeking you out and you become the professional.
Awesome, awesome. So your referral base after learning the advanced markets increased.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would tell you that this year we actually, you guys had a guest on here who's actually a business partner of mine, Eric Valdez, and he had asked me what portion of my business just this year I've really, really honed my skill on sitting in front of my client again, because I really want to help them. I want to keep them for life. Once you build a business, so I've been doing, this is my 16th year. So once I've been in this business, I shouldn't necessarily, I don't say, don't cut off your nose to spite your face. You're always going to need your leads and your new clients, but you already have sat in front of a buyer for years and years and years. Why would you not go back to them, and why would you not try to build that client base? So when we started thinking about it, or thinking outside the box, because most people are like, no, I just want to get a lead. And the problem is you shouldn't be one and done, because what we know is that if you sell more than one product in a house, you have a client for life. Yeah. So this year, 40% of my business that came from the advanced markets, or, I would probably say maybe 30% of it is current client referral base.
Wow.
Not even a new client.
Awesome. So you were kind of doing like a cross-selling with your current clients, right?
Correct.
So tell me a little bit more about that, because a lot of our agents already have a book of business and they already have clients they can talk to. So what was your approach to touch these clients again now with this different product?
Yeah, I think we have a system in place that does that, and we may be able to go into that a little bit more. But what I would tell you is you have to think about this as a lead. 33% of your current clients will buy more than one product, and 15% of them will buy two.
Wow.
So if you have a book of business, you're stepping over business and you're leaving it for somebody else to come in behind and sell. And if I'm already sitting in front of that client, why wouldn't I want to offer them more products that I have in my bag? It's a tool. So this year it got to the point where I went back and got my health license this year, because I was stepping over and leaving my clients in what I call bad hands, because there are other agents that are not going to take care of them, and they're not going to have their best interest.
That's true. There's a lot of that going on. In fact, yesterday we went over in the statistic that there's 1.1 million agents in the U.S. That sounds like a lot, but less than 20% actually does the right thing for the client and actually does this full time as a career, as a professional. And it's insane. And the fact that you take that into your own hands as an agent, I'm gonna help you with all these other products and I'm gonna learn about them. I admire that about you, because now you not only do mortgage protection, final expense, but what other things do you do in your whole buckets of different products?
So we're doing mortgage protection, final expense, debt elimination. We're doing, I call it safe money management, which is fixed indexed annuities. We do basic whole life. Now I'm doing health. I'm a one-stop shop at this point, other than property and casualty.
Everything you can use your license for, pretty much.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Awesome. So, did you ever have to do any type of marketing to build your book of business?
Yeah, everybody has to do some marketing. You have to purchase leads, but I'm getting into the part that I really like, and I'm doing so much current client referral base that I just absolutely love it. It's really, you feel like you're helping to an extreme, if you will. Like you're helping a group of people, not just individuals. You know how we always say you can help a client, one client at a time, one client at a time. I can better their life one client at a time. I don't feel that way anymore. I feel like I've tapped into groups of people, and now I'm thinking bigger, and I'm thinking groups of people can be changed faster.
Wow, that is huge. And tell me a little bit about, because a lot of agents also think that there's competition, or that they're gonna steal clients, and that oh my God, I gotta stay here because there's a lot of agents out there or a lot of competition. How do you see the competition? Is that really a thing or no?
There's always competition. I just feel like I do a bet. My mindset's very different. I'm not a salesperson. I'm an educator. I feel like my client will be educated when I walk out the door. And there are a lot of sales reps that go in and the client doesn't even know what they have, how long they have it for, and they're just not doing a good job of taking care of their needs. So I think listening to the client, educating the client, it's so fulfilling. Like it's almost, did I ever think I wanted to be a life insurance agent? That's not what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a professional soccer player. That's what I really wanted to be.
Right.
But I do feel like that it was my calling because I am good with people and I do care. And I think that's the mindset. It's the education and caring about the client that you do the right thing. And if that means leaving what they currently have in place, then that's what it means. But it doesn't mean you can't help them elsewhere.
Exactly. That's amazing. That's what I like about you, because caring for the clients and making the clients feel that. I think that's key. Because if the client doesn't trust you as a person or that you can help them, it's going to be hard to close that sale. So talking a little bit about some other strategies that maybe you can give to our agents that are listening to the podcast. So when you get a lead, schedule that appointment, and now you're in front of that client, and maybe you're getting some hiccups or some objections because maybe they already have something similar or their premium's too high. What steps do you have in place, or how do you overcome those objections?
Yeah, an objection. So typically, this is what I believe. People don't buy from people they don't like, they don't trust, and don't explain the product to them because they really don't even care what company you put them with.
Exactly. Is that important?
It's not important. That makes you the expert. So you're supposed to be recommending the best product for the client, and and it doesn't matter what your commission is. You recommend the best product for the client. Period. That's the way I look at it. And then you move on to the next person. Yes, do we get paid very well to do what we do? That's fine. But if you don't care about the client, then you're never going to get a referral.
Yeah. Or you're going to get a chargeback later.
Or a chargeback.
Yeah. Awesome. And on average, the Tinsman agency, love it. Right now you have such a big book, and you also have an admin person that helps you. You also have someone that's running marketing. So, and we're gonna talk a little bit about the agency stuff of it. But how are you still able to do everything you do, as far as still being an agent, running appointments, talking to clients on a daily basis, but at the same time managing the admin aspects of the business, such as making sure the you're getting the coaching to the agents, also making sure the marketing aspects of the business is working. So now, how do you wear all these hats? What tips can you give to the agents that are trying to do that?
It's hard. When you hire your first agent, you give up the right to be average and ordinary, which means you now have to put a structure in place for them to follow. Now, with being with Equus Financial and working with you guys, I think what people don't understand is we already have that structure in place. So my job is to bring people into the business that want to come into the business and give this thing a shot. I can't control whether they have success or not. I have to put them on the right path, and I have to give them the toolbox to be successful. So it's almost like saying, okay, let's just say you and I came into the agency at the same time with 8 other people. So 10 people came in.
Okay.
And I was Eric Valdez. And Eric Valdez picked Johnny and Sue and said that they were going to be the ones that were successful. But Jorge and Chris are the ones who are successful. He can't pick who's going to be successful. The only thing he can do is give you the tools to become successful. He didn't know you were going to be successful. He didn't know that I was going to be successful. But we just had the skills or some of the skill sets. And were we successful right out of the gate? Probably in the sales portion of it. But were we leaders? No, that was developed while we were here.
Wow.
And that's just about following the system, understanding that when you hire somebody, now you're responsible for them. Now it's your job to do and teach and do the things that you were taught when you first came into the business. It's a roller coaster. Admin, time management is a huge part of this business.
Wow. Yeah, can you tell us a little bit how you do it? Because it is. And I think a lot of agents fail because they don't know how to manage their time. They have all this time now, but they don't know how to manage it. And then they're not productive.
Yep. So I will tell you, as an agent in 16 years, I love the business. There's some things like I was never the most talented person, but the fact that I had a schedule and I stuck to the schedule, so I'm a worker. You'll not outwork me, which means I'm going to have success because I'm going to work. And you just put your head down and work. But what I learned is that I needed to buy back my time. And that's something that if you have money, you can buy your time back. When you don't have money and you come into the business, it's called sweat equity.
Yep.
So there's a big difference. I'm at the point in time in my career now that I don't have to put in so much sweat equity because I can buy my time back because I've built my business.
There you go.
But at the same time, when you think about it, the sweat equity portion of it is the portion where you learn the business, build a schedule, make the phone calls, sit on the appointments, write the business, get the business approved, because that's a big thing. Now I need help with my agents. I have to manage my own schedule. But the other thing too now is that we have a new system in place where we're actually creating leads. We're not dialing leads. So that's something we're really excited about. And we did launch that this year.
We are excited because I'm going to partner with you on that system.
Absolutely.
So it's going to be amazing. And we're looking forward to help all of our agents with this scheduling system that it's going to be amazing, where you will not have to dial as much and the system will do most of that for you and you will just be able to run appointments. So I can't wait to hear more about it.
Yep. And the nice thing about that is now you can actually touch your current client without having to manage it because the system will manage it for us.
Wow.
Which is really exciting. So you're buying your time back. I think about this all the time. I was dialing 8 to 16 hours a week to set appointments because I run at a very high level. What and how can I buy my time back? It's not the end all be all, but if I can say, okay, I can buy back $60,000 of my time, think about the time that I can now run and work in my business and work on my business.
Exactly. That's so smart, Chris. That's so smart. And you have great ideas. I want to ask you a little bit more about maybe other tips that you can give that new agent. So let's say you have a new agent on board just got the license just like you did all those years ago, but maybe they don't have the skill set. They don't know how to market themselves. They don't have maybe a big group of friends, but they're hungry and they want to make this happen. What tips would you give that agent to try to make this business successful?
Yeah, we're very, very fortunate because we do have a lead program, and we have leads that range everywhere from 50 cents all the way up to whatever you want to pay, pretty much. So again, this goes back to the sweat equity where you have to put the time in to have the success. If you don't have a lot of money in the beginning, we'll help you get started. But the reality is you have to do the work, because if you don't do the work, then the rest of it doesn't come. So there again, it's time management. This is a great industry, but be careful what you wish for, because it can be a blessing and a curse if you're not good at time management, which is why you need to set a schedule and you need to talk to your manager every single week.
Every single week, right? So who initiates that conversation? The agent that wants to make it happen, or the manager?
I think we as managers set the expectation, and potentially, however you do your schedule, you might want to put it into your schedule, but you also need to make sure that it's in your agent's schedule. And I have my agent either call me or I call them, but we set up a time to talk, like 15 minutes a week.
Awesome. That's important. That's so important. Well, what do you think the biggest challenge is for new agents coming into the industry?
It's time management.
It's the same thing.
It's time management.
Wow.
It's time management. And so why did you come into the business? Like, why are you here? So are you here because you're trying to get ahead? Are you part-time? Are you full-time? Are you sometime? Those would be the things I need to find out from an agent. And once they come in, I can say, okay, you want to be part-time. Great. How many hours a week do you want to work? Let's go ahead and build a schedule. But if they don't stick to the schedule, and then the people inside their household don't respect the schedule, then it's a problem, because they're home during the day and now everybody wants you to do the honey-do list. So not only do you have to present the schedule and stick to the schedule, you have to present it to your family as well.
Wow. Which is interesting, because a lot of agents, they get their family to control them instead of them controlling their schedule and what they need to do. And I think it also talks about if they have their priorities right, or if they have the goals that they want to achieve, right? A lot of them, if they don't have a big goal, that's where all these problems comes in, right?
It's that why.
The big why.
The why, and you have to get the support from your family. It is a job. Like, it's a job. It's not. It's different than punching a clock. But if you don't go out and work, then you don't eat.
Yeah. How's that with your spouse? Because he's not in the insurance business.
No, he's not. So, but I can tell you, so it's so funny, because even to this day, he still asks me if I need to dial on Saturday mornings. And I've been in the industry a long time, but that's because he respected my schedule. But when I first got into the business, I printed a schedule, I put it on the refrigerator so that everybody knew when I was working. And that's how we handled it for years. And it was the same thing day in and day out. But that's the consistency in the business. You're either dipping your toe in the water or you're professional. And if you're going to do this as a full-time job, because it is a job, I get the financial freedom, and I get you get to control your schedule, and it's great. But for me, I wanted to put my head down for years and just go at this thing and see where it would lead me. Yeah. And because I love the sales side of it, I wasn't a big builder. But now it's so funny. When you start to do really good things, people start to follow, and we're really starting to get some traction in our agency.
Awesome. And how important is to be on the same page with your spouse?
Probably the most important thing, because if things aren't good at home, then things aren't good in your sales either. You have to shut it out. It affects everything you do.
Wow. Awesome. Let's talk a little bit about some inspirational things. And I know you have the mindset of just going out there and work and treat this as a job. And I love that because I'm the same way. It's like, if I'm really gonna make this happen, we have to work, right? But there are some things that we need to motivate us because you don't have a boss. I don't have a boss. We just woke up every day to do what we have to do. And where do you find inspiration? Like, who has been the most inspirational person that maybe you can say, and why? Right.
Wow. That's a tough one for me. I mean, both of my parents worked. So that's where I got my work ethic from. That's definitely, that's what I grew up and both of my parents worked. So the work ethic comes from them. I love Patrick Kelly, Tax-Free Retirement.
Tax-Free Retirement. Oh, he's awesome.
One of my favorite books ever. And then I love John Gordon. I love Andy Andrews, and I've seen all of them speak from stage.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, I have. My favorite book from John Gordon is The Energy Bus, and then Andy Andrews is The Noticer.
Wow, awesome.
It's just inspirational because they're humble, they're hungry, they're proud, and they stand up for what they believe in. And I think this business is no different. You're either a good agent or you're not. I don't think there's any gray with that. And I think if you're going to be in this business, you have to be in it to truly help people.
Awesome. I like that. And it's not just about the money. And I tell the agents, there's a lot of money, but there's also a lot of greed sometimes. And I think the clients sometimes they smell that, right? They can feel that.
Commission breath is what they call it.
Commission breath. And having the best interest at heart of the client, that's huge. And I think that has taken you to where you are now. How many policies have you sold? Like, if you can give me an example, one client, how many policies have you maybe sold them?
In one household?
Or help them with in one household. Yeah.
A girlfriend of mine in the business, and I went into a house in Georgia, and we sold nine policies in one house.
9 policies in one house. Awesome. But they had the need, right? They had the need. What things do you look for in the client? Like, what are some of the questions you ask to identify if, hey, this person really needs this type of product?
I think my biggest concern when I walk into a house, and I don't prejudge anybody. You can't. You don't know what they have.
You don't know. Yeah.
But I always find out what they do for a living. I find out, do they have anything in place? But number one, it has to fit their budget. Because if it doesn't fit their budget, they're not going to keep the product anyways. And if it doesn't fit their budget, then you didn't really help them.
Exactly. Yeah. You oversell them on something that maybe they couldn't afford. Okay. So you identify that
all the time.
Away. Okay. Wow. So tell me a little bit about mentors, because you probably had mentors in this industry.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
Tell me but a real mentor. Like, tell me maybe what has been the best advice that a mentor has given you in this industry?
In the insurance industry?
Yeah.
First, you have to treat every single client as if they were your own family. And that's Bill Martin OG.
Wow.
And I've been learning I think hands down, he may be one of the best insurance trainers in the country. And I don't say that. I've learned from him for years and years and years at a couple of different companies. And for me, he just gets it. You know how some people just get it and they just love people, and he's just a matter of fact, and he's so personable. I try to emulate that.
Wow. Bill Martin, OG. All right. Awesome. And we're almost done. If you can change something about our industry, what will it be and why?
Change about our industry.
And that's hard. I know changing insurance is very regulated, but if you have the powers to do that, what would you change?
I would create different products for different illnesses. I know that there's a lot of carriers that accept certain things, but I think that there are, as time goes on and as diseases, I say settle, or we find medications that are more acceptable and people in that disease category live longer, I think we need to lighten or lessen the noose on the underwriting guidelines. If I could change that in the insurance industry, because I want to help everybody. And that's something that you can't do.
Yeah, sometimes there's no other option than a guaranteed product, right? And wow, that's huge. That's huge. And do you have any strategies for success? Because like Tinsman agency does a lot of revenue every year. And I don't want to get into details, but she's a very big hitter. You know, what's your strategy for success? Like, this is what I go by. And
work and consistency. And you got to love it. I think in order to wake up every single day, and like I've been blessed because for the last 15 years, I don't wake up and say, I don't want to go to work. Like when I worked in corporate America, I had anxiety. Like I couldn't sleep on Sunday nights because I was anxious about going to work on a Monday morning. Since
so
I
always
found
been like this.
Insurance, I've never had that issue.
Wow.
I mean, there are times when you just don't feel like it, but you still do it because you love it and you know that the people need you.
Awesome. Last question. If you were able to give an advice to the 20-year-old Chris Tinsman, what would that be?
Do it. Get your license so you can retire by the time you're 35.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Chris. It was amazing interview. Do you have any questions for me? Maybe.
No, I'm good. I think you did a great job.
I think it was amazing, and the idea is for people to know that everybody can do this, right? Everybody can do this. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. It doesn't matter if you've been in a high corporate America job or if you've been in a blue collar job, but if you have a dream and you're hungry of achieving something else in your life, try the insurance business out. It works for many agents, and we have the resources here at The Insurance to help you. So thank you everyone for listening or watching our podcast, and I'll see you next week.